After our family reunion, $9,000 vanished from my account. My brother-in-law laughed, dismissing it, until a shocking truth burst through the door. Want to know I'm Alyssa Bennett, a 27-year-old marketing manager living in a modest Seattle apartment, where winters chill to 40 degrees Fahrenheit and summers rise to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Each morning, I brew hazelnut coffee, draft campaign strategies at my desk, and drive 7 miles to my pharmaceutical company office, crafting ads that shape public health. My career, built on a University of Washington degree, is my pride, earned through relentless pitches and sleepless nights perfecting presentations. But my family never valued it. To them, I'm the default bank, dressed in practical sweaters with no extravagance, always bailing them out with cash. My sister Amanda, her husband Nathan, and my parents, Donna and Paul Bennett, see me as the stable one, a single woman with a good job, expected to fund their endless needs without question or gratitude. Growing up in our family's craftsman-style home, 12 miles from downtown Seattle, I learned early that my role was to provide, not to be celebrated. Amanda, 5 years my senior, and Nathan, with their chaotic finances and constant crises, dominated every family gathering. At Thanksgiving dinners, relatives rallied around them, exclaiming, "Amanda, Haley's growing so fast," or "Nathan, you'll land a job soon, don't worry." Their presence commanded attention, their struggles met with warm sympathy and encouragement. Me? I was a shadow in family photos, barely acknowledged unless someone needed money. If anyone mentioned me, it was a fleeting, "Alyssa's doing well at work," as if my achievements were mundane, expected, unworthy of praise. I believed if I worked hard, stayed quiet, and supported their needs, my parents would one day see me with the same care and affection they showered on Amanda and Nathan. But their eyes were always fixed on them, their concern reserved for their perpetual troubles, leaving me to fill the gaps. The disparity was stark, a constant undercurrent in our family dynamics. I remember one Christmas when I was 15, sitting at our pine dining table, the air thick with the aroma of roasted ham and Donna's tangy cranberry sauce. Amanda, then 20, received a $400 silver necklace, her squeals of delight echoing as relatives clapped and cooed. Nathan, newly married to her, was gifted a $200 leather jacket, with Paul beaming, "Your family now, Nate." My gift? A $20 spiral notebook with a note, "For Alyssa, keep working hard." Donna smiled gently, "You're so independent, Alyssa. You don't need much." I nodded, my throat tightening, and slipped away to my room, the sting of being an afterthought cutting deeper than I could articulate. That was the pattern, their crises were cushioned with gifts and support, while my efforts were overlooked, taken for granted as part of my role. Family gatherings only widened this divide, reinforcing my place as the invisible provider. Amanda's baby shower for her daughter Haley, held in our backyard 5 miles from town, was a lavish affair, catered wild salmon, a live acoustic band, and a pastel banner proclaiming Haley's grand arrival. Nathan's prolonged jobless periods were met with family fundraisers and fresh start trips to Portland, 190 miles south, complete with brewery tours and hotel stays. My milestones, however, were barely acknowledged. My college graduation warranted a quiet dinner with a store-bought chocolate cake, maybe a good job, Alyssa, if I prompted it. When I landed my marketing manager role at a major pharmaceutical firm, Donna remarked, "That's a long commute. Can you drive us to our doctor's appointments?" My first $50,000 advertising campaign, a breakthrough in my career? Paul nodded absently, "Sounds like a lot of work. Help Amanda pick out Haley's birthday gifts." There was no pride, only expectations, their demands piling onto my already stretched resources. I told myself it was fine, that family meant showing up, especially for those struggling. I believed if I gave enough, my time, my money, my heart, they'd see me beyond the reliable daughter who always had her finances in order. I was proud of my work, orchestrating $1 million marketing campaigns that influenced healthcare trends, valuing the self-respect I'd earned through meticulous planning and creative execution. But my family didn't care. They never asked about the advertisements I launched, the clients I impressed, or the thrill of seeing my campaigns go viral on social media platforms. When I tried to share my successes, Paul would grunt, "Sounds like a stressful job," before shifting the conversation to Nathan's latest unemployment woes or Amanda's challenges as a single mother raising Haley. My achievements were dismissed, my role reduced to solving their financial problems. The imbalance wasn't just emotional, it was deeply financial, a pattern that grew over time. At 22, I worked weekends at a cafe, biking 3 miles through Seattle's drizzle to save for college tuition, determined to avoid student debt. Amanda, at 27, needed a $2,000 down payment for a new car when her credit was denied, and I wired it without hesitation. Over 5 years, I poured $26,350 into their lives, $3,200 to cover Nathan's rent during his 6-month jobless stint, $1,500 for Amanda's overdue phone bills, $1,500 for extravagant gifts for Haley's birthdays, and $20,300 for the family's utility bills, medical expenses, and other emergencies. They never asked if I could afford it, never considered the strain on my modest salary. Their only comment was, "You're stable, Alyssa. Can you help out?" I complied, quietly, convincing myself it was temporary, that helping family was what good daughters did. At family dinners, Amanda's struggles as a mother and Nathan's potential to find work dominated the conversation, their needs always framed as urgent, pressing. If I dared to speak about my own life, the topic shifted, my words dissolving into the background. Amanda would tease, "Alyssa's the rich one, she's got it covered," and Donna would laugh softly, but their casual dismissal masked a painful truth: I was invisible to them unless they needed my money. The deepest wound came last year, during a biting 45 degrees Fahrenheit winter evening, 12 miles from home. Nathan, desperate, needed $3,200 to avoid eviction, and I sent it, dipping into my savings. I showed Donna a campaign I'd launched, hoping for a spark of pride. She sighed, "That's nice, Alyssa," before fretting over Amanda's latest bill. I pressed, my voice quiet but firm, "What about me, Mom? Don't I matter?" Her eyes were distant, her response dismissive. "You're fine, Alyssa. Amanda and Nathan need us right now." That moment shattered my hope. I wasn't their daughter in the way Amanda was their priority, or Nathan their project. I was their financier, called upon when their bills piled up, ignored when it came to love or recognition. In America, family is supposed to be a haven, a place where your efforts are reciprocated with care and respect, but mine was a ledger of debts I didn't owe, a one-way street where my contributions were expected but never celebrated. I had clung to the hope that one day they'd say, "We're proud of you, Alyssa," or even just ask how I was holding up under the weight of their demands. But that hope, I realized, had become a heavy chain I'd carried for far too long, binding me to a role that diminished my worth. The steady Seattle rain fell outside my parents' Craftsman home, 12 miles from my apartment, as I stood in their familiar kitchen, clutching a glass of water with trembling hands, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. The 55 degrees Fahrenheit air was damp, carrying the faint scent of roasted coffee from the morning, but a colder shock consumed me after opening my banking app. $83.52 remained where $9,000 had stood just 2 days ago, following our family reunion. The bank confirmed unauthorized transactions totaling $8,916.48, traced to a device logged into my account from my mom's IP address, a violation that hit like a physical blow. I'd driven back to confront them, the warmth of reunion hugs and laughter now clashing with a rising fury that tightened my throat. In the living room, Amanda lounged on the couch, legs crossed, sipping red wine with a carefree smile, as if the world hadn't just shifted beneath me. "You're back already?" she asked, her voice light, almost mocking. I faced her, struggling to keep my voice steady, the betrayal raw in my chest. I checked my account. $8,916.48 is gone. Nathan, her husband, emerged from the kitchen, leaning casually against the fridge with a soda can, a smirk playing on his lips. "We needed that money more than you did, Alyssa," he said, his tone half amused, half dismissive, as if my loss was a trivial inconvenience. I froze, his words striking like a slap across the face, sharp and disorienting. Amanda chuckled softly, shrugging as if I were overreacting to a spilled drink. "Don't be so dramatic," she said, her eyes glinting with indifference. "You've got a good job, no kids, no debt. You live alone." I turned to Donna, my mother, knitting quietly in the corner, hoping for a flicker of outrage or defense. She sighed, her eyes fixed on her needles, her voice gentle, as if I'd complained about a minor slight. "You're so sensitive, Alyssa. You have more than enough. What's wrong with helping out a little?" I shifted my gaze to Paul, my father, hunched over his phone, scrolling through notifications. He mumbled without looking up, "Don't use harsh words, Alyssa. It's just family business." Their collective indifference landed like a second blow, my chest constricting with disbelief and hurt. I'd given $26,350 over 5 years, $3,200 for Nathan's rent, $1,500 for Haley's gifts, $20,300 for their utilities and medical bills, yet they justified stealing $8,916.48 with shrugs and smirks. "How did you even get into my account?" I demanded, my voice quivering but resolute, the question burning in my mind. Amanda shrugged again, her nonchalance infuriating. "I used Mom's computer. Your banking app was still logged in. If you didn't log out, that's on you." Her words twisted the knife, blaming me for their theft, as if my oversight excused their violation. Nathan chimed in, his smirk widening, dismissive as ever. It's not like we splurged on luxury stuff, just rent, groceries, things to survive. Without it, we'd be starving on the streets. I stared at them, my eyes darting from Amanda's casual sip of wine to Nathan's smug lean, from Donna's calm knitting to Paul's detached scrolling. Not one of them showed a trace of guilt, not a hint of remorse, not even a pretense of an apology. Their faces, so familiar from years of family dinners, now seemed like strangers, united in their entitlement. What did I do to deserve this? I whispered, the words slipping out, heavy with pain, though no one seemed to register my hurt. Amanda tossed her hair back, rolling her eyes. You can earn it back, Alyssa. Don't be so dramatic. Donna, almost as an afterthought, added her habitual line, don't forget Sunday dinner, as if this moment were just another routine family squabble. I grabbed my purse, my resolve hardening like steel forged in fire. At the door, I paused, hand gripping the knob, and turned back, my voice low but unwavering. If you think I'm going to let this go, wait and see what happens next. Amanda let out a mocking giggle, her wine glass tilting slightly. Oh, please, Alyssa. You're being so theatrical. Honestly, we needed that money more than you do. Don't be selfish. Nathan's smirk widened, as if my threat were a child's tantrum easily ignored. I stepped into the 55 degrees Fahrenheit rain, their words, we needed it more, ringing in my ears, fueling a storm of anger and determination within me. Driving through the downpour, I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened, the red glow of a traffic light blurring through the windshield. I couldn't face my apartment yet, the betrayal was too raw, too suffocating. I pulled into the parking lot near Green Lake Park, my usual jogging spot, needing space to breathe, to think, to process the magnitude of what had just happened. Sitting in my car, engine off, I reopened the banking app, the $83.52 balance glaring like a taunt, as cold and unyielding as Amanda's smirk and Nathan's laugh. I'd given $26,350 to this family, $92.50 for Amanda's phone bill years ago, $3,200 for Nathan's rent, $1,500 for Haley's extravagant birthday gifts, $20,300 for my parents' utilities and medical expenses, dipping into savings, skipping vacations, eating instant noodles for weeks to make ends meet. They'd called me stable, their go-to excuse, never once asking, Alyssa, are you okay, or considering the strain on my modest marketing manager salary. Amanda's new car, Nathan's $1,350 gaming console, Donna's overdue electric bills, all funded by my sacrifices, dismissed as my duty because I lived alone, had no children, carried no debt. Their justification, you didn't need it, cut deeper than the theft itself, reducing my life to a mere resource for their convenience. I opened my notes app, fingers trembling as I listed every payment I'd made over the years, $92.50 here, $3,200 there, $1,500 for gifts, $20,300 for bills, not to demand repayment, but to anchor myself, to ensure I'd never forget the cost of their entitlement. I'd always been their financial lifeline, starting with Amanda's plea at 22, my phone's cut off, can you help? I sent $1,350 without hesitation. Nathan, jobless for months, got $3,200 for rent with a casual, I'll pay you back. Haley's birthday gifts, always $200 or more, came with Donna's sweet guilt, you're not getting anything for your niece? I complied, believing family meant sacrifice, hoping my generosity would earn their love, their gratitude, perhaps a simple acknowledgement of my own struggles. But their silence, their demands, you're the stable one, revealed a painful truth. They saw me not as a daughter or sister, but as a credit card, a tool to be used without question. In America, family is supposed to be a haven, a place where love and fairness intertwine, where your efforts are met with care and respect. I'd held fast to that ideal, pouring my heart into $1 million marketing campaigns, valuing the self-respect I'd earned through creativity and precision. But my family didn't care about my achievements, my late-night pitches, or the pride I took in my work. They cared about Amanda's parenting struggles, Nathan's potential to find a job, Paul's medical bills, Donna's overdue utilities. Their theft of $8,916.48, accessed through my unguarded login on Donna's computer, wasn't just a financial violation, it was a betrayal of trust, a declaration that my worth began and ended with what I could provide. Nathan's mocking it's not stealing, it's helping and Amanda's don't be selfish weren't about survival, they were about entitlement, a belief that my resources were theirs to take, no permission needed. As the rain softened, pale sunlight broke through the gray clouds, casting a faint glow across the park's wet pavement. I sat up straight, my resolve crystallizing like the clarity after a storm. This wasn't just about $8,916.48, it was about respect, about my right to be seen as more than a bank. I'd given $26,350, worked 60-hour weeks, sacrificed vacations, all for a family that laughed at my loss. Their betrayal, their refusal to apologize or even feign guilt, ended that cycle. I wasn't their financier anymore, but Alyssa Bennett, ready to fight for what was mine, to reclaim the peace they'd stolen alongside my money. The road ahead would be hard, but as I started the car, I knew I was done being their tool, done carrying their burdens. This was my stand, and I wouldn't back down. The Seattle rain fell softly outside my apartment, 12 miles from my parents' Craftsman home, as I sat on my couch, the banking app open, displaying a gut-wrenching $83.52 where $9,000 had been just days ago. The 60 degrees Fahrenheit night air was cool, but a deeper chill settled in my chest, raw and unrelenting, after Amanda, Nathan, Donna, and Paul admitted to withdrawing $8,916.48 from my account during our family reunion, using my login left open on Donna's computer. Their dismissive words, "We needed it more, don't be dramatic," and Nathan's mocking smirk replayed in my mind, their messages flooding in, "You're selfish, it's family." The betrayal cut deeper than the stolen money. They'd treated me as a wallet, not a daughter, their love and respect reserved for Amanda's struggles and Nathan's potential, leaving me to bear the weight of their entitlement. I'd been the Bennett family's financial lifeline, pouring $26,350 into their lives over 5 years, $3,200 for Nathan's rent, $1,500 for Haley's extravagant birthday gifts, $20,300 for utilities and medical bills, working 60-hour weeks, sacrificing personal dreams to keep them afloat. Each payment was a silent plea for their love, a belief that my $1 million marketing campaigns would earn their pride, that my efforts would prove my worth beyond being the stable daughter. But Amanda's casual "you live alone" and Nathan's smug "it's not stealing" during that confrontation in their kitchen revealed a brutal truth. I was a tool, not a sister, not a daughter. The pain wasn't new, it was a wound torn open, raw and searing, from years of being invisible beside Amanda's parenting challenges and Nathan's jobless excuses. They'd taken $8,916.48, blaming my failure to log out, as if my trust was an invitation to steal, as if my life savings were theirs to claim without consent. The deepest wound came from their utter lack of remorse, their refusal to acknowledge the violation. Donna's gentle "you're so sensitive" dismissed my $26,350 as an obligation, not a sacrifice born of love. Paul's mumbled "it's family business" sidestepped my hurt, prioritizing their comfort over my trust. Amanda's flippant "you can earn it back" and Nathan's justification, "we'd be starving otherwise," mocked the years I'd spent skipping vacations, eating instant noodles for weeks, and canceling plans to fund their needs, $92.50 for Amanda's phone, $3,200 for Nathan's rent, $1,500 for Haley's gifts. They'd never pause to ask, "Alyssa, are you okay?" or consider the toll of their demands. They called when Nathan faced eviction, when Amanda's car payment loomed, when Donna's electric bill was overdue, but when I needed them, when I needed respect, not theft, they turned away, their laughter and shrugs a declaration that my worth was tied solely to what I could provide. The betrayal wasn't just the $8,916.48 they stole, it was the realization that I'd been a resource, a means to an end, valued only when their crises demanded my money. In America, family is meant to be a sanctuary, a place where your efforts are met with love, where mutual care binds you together. I'd clung to that ideal, pouring my heart into my career, valuing the self-respect I'd earned through late-night pitches and viral marketing campaigns that shaped public health narratives. I believed my sacrifices, $26,350 over 5 years, countless hours of worry, would earn me a place in their hearts, a moment of recognition for the stability I'd fought to maintain. But I was wrong. I'd given everything, biking 3 miles in 40 degrees Fahrenheit rain to work, working 60-hour weeks to keep my own finances afloat while funding theirs, and they'd never said, "We're proud of you, Alyssa," or even asked how I managed under the weight of their expectations. Their messages, "Don't make a big deal, you're the stable one," twisted my role as provider into an overreaction, as if my pain, my loss, were insignificant. I'd foregone personal dreams, canceled a winter trip with coworkers to pay Nathan's $1,350 console, skipped meals to cover Donna's bills, yet they stole without a shred of guilt, offering no apology, only blame for my negligence in leaving my account accessible. I thought back to every moment they were prioritized, their needs placed above mine without question. Amanda's new car, funded by my $2,000 down payment, was a necessity for Haley, while my own need for a reliable vehicle was ignored. Nathan's $3,200 rent payment was a temporary help that never ended, while my promotion was met with, "Can you help Amanda with Haley's gifts?" At family dinners, 5 miles from home, relatives lauded Amanda's resilience as a mother and Nathan's potential to find work, while my campaigns, my achievements, were brushed off with a curt, "That's nice, Alyssa." I'd given $26,350, poured out my youth, my peace, my savings, and never received a thank you that wasn't followed by another request. As I sat in my 70 degrees Fahrenheit apartment, the rain's soft patter a stark contrast to the storm within, their betrayal solidified like a truth I could no longer deny. They'd taken my money, my trust, my heart, and offered nothing but laughter and excuses in return. The pain wasn't just the loss of $8,916.48, it was the shattering of the illusion that I'd ever been a valued daughter, a cherished sister, in their eyes. They'd seen me as a credit card with a heartbeat, and that realization, more than the theft itself, was the wound that would not heal. The Seattle dusk cast a soft 60 degrees Fahrenheit glow outside my apartment, 12 miles from my parents' Craftsman home, as I sat at my desk, spreadsheets open, meticulously detailing $26,350 I'd given, $3,200 for Nathan's rent, $1,500 for Haley's gifts, $20,300 for family bills, now tainted by their theft of $8,916.48 from my account during our reunion. Amanda's dismissive "we needed it more," Nathan's mocking smirk, and Donna's "you're sensitive" echoed in my mind, their betrayal, accessing my banking login on Donna's computer, fueling a resolve that had been simmering since that rainy confrontation. Their messages, "you're selfish, it's family," piled up, but the breaking point came when I confirmed the theft's details. On a Monday, I reported it to the police, moved to Boulder, Colorado, and redefined my life, setting a boundary that ended my role as their financial savior. I'd ignored their escalating pleas, Donna's "don't make a big deal," Amanda's "you win," Nathan's "I can't lose everything," letting their calls go unanswered, their texts unread. I'd compiled evidence, a 17-page bank report, red-marked transactions, including a $2,800 withdrawal from Donna's IP address, and my records of $26,350 in prior support. At the Financial Crimes Division, Officer Harper reviewed my folder, spreadsheets, receipts, emails, and nodded. "We'll investigate for fraud and unauthorized access," she said. I listed Amanda, Nathan, Donna, and Paul, my voice steady. Leaving the precinct, I felt relief, not vengeance, knowing my silence was over. 2 weeks later, Harper called, "We're moving forward. Investigators are visiting their residences today." I froze, not triumphant but free, the weight of their entitlement lifting. That night, their calls flooded in, Donna's "this is too far," Amanda's "my account's frozen," Nathan's "I'm suspended," but I blocked them, their panic no longer my burden. I'd given $26,350, believing family was sacred, but their theft proved I was their ATM. I packed my life into a rented car, drove 1,050 miles to Boulder, a town I'd once visited, its calm lingering in my memory. I rented a studio overlooking the Rockies, its white walls and big windows catching morning light. I changed my number, told my company I'd work remotely, and felt my energy return, unburdened by their demands. My boss, Julian, praised my latest strategy, "Brilliant, Alyssa. Regional coordinator for the West Coast?" I accepted, a year ago unthinkable, now my right. At a second confrontation, days before leaving, I'd returned to Donna's house, the roast scent familiar but heavy with tension. I laid the bank report on the table. My account was accessed here. I didn't log in. Who took it? Amanda, avoiding my eyes, shrugged. "You left it open. It's not hacking." Nathan, pouring lemonade, scoffed, "You're dramatic. It's family helping family." Donna picked at her salad, Paul hid behind his newspaper. I pressed, "Helping is asking." This was stealing. Donna's gentle "you have no burdens" and Paul's "you're the strongest" framed my $26,350 as duty, not love. I stood, voice firm, "If this is how you treat me, don't expect me to stay." Nathan laughed, mocking, "Call the cops?" I met his gaze. "Wait and see." I left, regret replaced by resolve. In Boulder, I built a new life, free from their grasp. My apartment, with fresh flowers and a new desk, was mine, not a stopover for their crises. I cooked risotto, wore a red dress, joined pottery classes, reclaiming joys I'd shelved for their bills, $92.50 for Amanda's phone, $3,200 for Nathan's rent. Their theft, $8,916.48, wasn't just money, it was my trust, my peace, my place in their world. In America, family is about love and fairness, but mine saw me as a bank. I'd valued self-respect, earned through $1 million campaigns, but they valued Amanda's motherhood, Nathan's potential. Their laughter, their "you didn't need it," wasn't about survival, it was entitlement, a belief my resources were theirs. Reporting the theft, moving away, I shed their chains. The investigation unfolded, Amanda's accounts frozen, Nathan suspended, Donna and Paul facing foreclosure warnings. Their pleas, "Don't abandon me," came too late, their apologies absent. I didn't gloat, I mourned the family I'd hoped for, not the one that stole. In Boulder, I found clarity, no longer their tool but Alyssa Bennett, choosing a life where my worth wasn't tied to their demands. The rain of Seattle was gone, the Rockies' sunlight was my new dawn, a boundary forged in betrayal, unyielding and free. The Boulder sunlight streamed through my studio's windows at 65 degrees Fahrenheit, 1,050 miles from my parents' foreclosed Seattle home. As I sipped tea, the 70 degrees Fahrenheit warmth a stark contrast to the chaos I'd left behind. My stand, reporting the $8,916.48 theft and $26,350 in prior support, $3,200 for Nathan's rent, $20,300 for bills, sparked a fraud investigation, dismantling my family's facade. Amanda, Nathan, Donna, and Paul's pleas, "You're cruel, don't abandon us," went silent after I moved, their betrayal exposed by my evidence. As their world crumbled, I felt no urge to rescue them, only relief at shedding their entitlement. Their collapse was swift. Amanda's texts, "My account's frozen," stopped, her silence stark as investigations deepened. Nathan's calls, "I'm suspended," ceased, his bravado crushed. Donna and Paul's "We'll lose the house" faded, their pride buried. Neighbors, 5 miles from Seattle's core, gossiped about their downfall, relatives distanced themselves, and the community, once charmed by Amanda's motherhood, scorned their deceit. Melanie Harper, Amanda's cousin-in-law, emailed, "Alyssa, they're ruined. Amanda's broke, Nathan's adrift, your parents are scraping by." I nodded, unsurprised. The family that stole from me faced the price of their actions. The house, a $450,000 haven I'd sustained, was their undoing. Without my $20,300, the mortgage defaulted. Listings emerged, 789, Pine Street, $400,000, urgent. Melanie texted, "No buyers." Pipes burst, roofs shot. My $3,200 for repairs, $1,500 for bills, wasted, neglected by Nathan's inaction. The home, once vibrant with Thanksgiving feasts and Portland trips 190 miles away, stood vacant, a monument to their greed, abandoned, decaying, with no one to mend it. Amanda and Nathan suffered most. Amanda, her accounts frozen, struggled to pay Haley's tuition, her parenting heroics exposed as funded by my $1,500 gifts. Nathan, fired for fraud ties, drifted jobless, his potential mocked. Melanie noted, "They're scraping by on odd jobs." I sipped my tea, unmoved. They, who'd taken $8,916.48 while I gave $26,350, faced the instability they'd coasted through, their charm useless in the 65 degrees Fahrenheit spring. Donna and Paul, clinging to their home, worked grueling jobs, Paul in warehouses, Donna cleaning houses, their health fading. Melanie said, "They're broken, selling heirlooms." Family traditions, Christmas dinners, summer escapes, dissolved. Relatives, who'd lauded Amanda's resilience, stopped calling, their silence louder than past cheers. My cousin Sarah, 15 miles away in Bellevue, texted, "Alyssa, they're done." "Your evidence woke everyone." I replied, "They woke themselves." I showed the truth. Her silence echoed their ruin. Donna's pleas, "Don't let us lose everything," went unanswered. I'd given $26,350, worked through exhaustion, and they'd stolen without remorse. Their consequences weren't my fault, they'd chosen entitlement over respect. The fallout wasn't just financial, it was social, moral, irreparable. Donna and Paul, blind to Amanda and Nathan's flaws, faced enabling them. Nathan's $1,350 console, Amanda's $2,000 car, my sacrifices, fueled their recklessness. The investigation, sparked by my $8,916.48 report, was their reckoning. They blamed me, their anger a shield, but I didn't carry it. I'd given $26,350, my time, my heart, and they'd laughed, saying, "You didn't need it." Now, they learned family ties break when built on theft. As their house sat unsold, I felt release, not guilt. I'd stopped being their bank, and the freedom was brighter than Boulder's sun. The Boulder autumn shimmered at 60 degrees Fahrenheit outside my studio, 1,050 miles from my parents' lost Seattle home, as I sat sketching by a sunlit window, the 70 degrees Fahrenheit warmth enveloping me. 6 months after Amanda, Nathan, Donna, and Paul stole $8,916.48, dismissing my $26,350 in support, $3,200 for rent, $20,300 for bills, their betrayal faded. I'd reported the theft, moved to Boulder, and cut contact, their pleas, "You're cruel, don't abandon us," silenced. Their world of foreclosure, Nathan's joblessness, Amanda's ruin, collapsed, but in my haven, I found peace, choosing myself over a family that saw me as a wallet. I settled into my routine, the studio's light warming my sketches and marketing plans. My remote job, managing $1 million campaigns, thrived, my creativity soaring. I'd been their financier, $26,350 for their survival, but their theft freed me. That betrayal, Nathan's We Needed It More, forged a boundary, opening a life where I mattered. I redirected my $3,200 savings to a pottery class 2 miles away, molding clay with new friends. I bought a $1,200 camera, a dream deferred for their $1,500 gifts, its lens capturing Boulder's Rockies, a rebellion against $20 notebooks I'd accepted as a teen. My phone stayed silent, no more rants from Nathan, pleas from Donna, or demands from Amanda. The silence was liberation. I'd believed family was sacred, but mine proved otherwise. True family is respect, not blood. I found it in Boulder. Neighbor Clara hosted dinners, her laughter warm. Your family, Alyssa. Melanie Harper, Amanda's cousin-in-law, emailed gratitude. Your stand inspired me to say no. These bonds, built on care, filled the void my family left. Work became my sanctuary. I landed a West Coast coordinator role, my strategies shaping $2 million campaigns. I mentored youth at a community center, their ambition echoing mine. My blog on boundaries grew, readers writing, you gave me strength. I healed others and myself. The Bennett's world shattered. Their $450,000 house, foreclosed, was unsold at $400,000, its burst pipes, once my $20,300 fix, a relic. Amanda struggled, Nathan drifted, Melanie noting, they're lost. Donna cleaned houses, Paul labored, their pride gone. Family traditions, Thanksgiving feasts, Portland trips 190 miles away, ended, their home a ghost. Donna's plea, we'll lose everything, came too late. I saved it, unheeded, with old emails, not from anger but clarity. I didn't hate them, I lacked strength to give without value. Nathan's you're dead to us faded. I'd given $26,350, endured sleepless nights, and they'd stolen. Their consequences weren't my fault, they'd chosen greed over love. Melanie's email, you lit my path, and Kelly's postcard from Italy, you showed me courage, affirmed my stand. I hiked Boulder's trails 5 miles away, laughter forging kin. I volunteered at a literacy program, shielding others from my family's traps. In a Boulder cafe, the owner recalled my visit years ago, smiling, this place heals. I nodded, sketching a girl biking, free. I wasn't the Alyssa who biked 3 miles in rain for scraps while Amanda got cars. I was Alyssa Bennett, who learned true family uplifts, not drains. Their betrayal, $8,916.48 stolen, set me free. I lived for myself, and that was enough. As Alyssa Bennett, I poured $26,350 into my family's needs, $3,200 for rent, $20,300 for bills, believing it would earn their love, only to find $8,916.48 stolen from my account, dismissed with smirks and we needed it more. Their betrayal, justifying theft while ignoring my sacrifices, showed I was just their ATM, not a daughter. For 27 years, I was the invisible provider, my $1 million campaigns overlooked as Amanda and Nathan were coddled. Reporting their fraud and moving to Boulder, I learned family isn't blood, it's respect. Their pleas, you're cruel, tried to guilt me, but I found peace in my new home, surrounded by true friends like Melanie. To you, Americans who cherish family, don't let duty blind you to exploitation. If your family sees you as a resource, set boundaries. Your worth isn't their approval, it's your strength. Don't repeat my years of giving to those who take without thanks. Say no when it's unjust, it's not selfishness, it's survival. Build a circle that values your heart, friends, mentors, chosen kin. Perseverance isn't carrying others' burdens, it's walking toward those who uplift you. I chased we're proud too long. Start now, demand respect, live for yourself, and find freedom in being enough.